It honestly should not be this hot in November. I'm melting. I'm melting. Hey creatives, welcome back to the channel. My name is DS Walls and I'm here to talk to you guys about the horrendous practice of turning books into movies. Specifically, The Sun is Also a Star. So let's jump into it. Okay, so if you have seen this movie or if you have read the book, then you know that the whole plot of it is to follow two characters as they spend a day in New York together, sort of falling in love. Falling in love. It follows Daniel, who is a Korean second generation boy who's supposed to be going to an interview for his college applications, and then it also follows Tasha, who is doing everything in her power to try and stop her family from being deported that day. So let's get into what made the book so great that really didn't translate on the screen. So my favorite thing about the book are these little chapters that give you insights to the characters, important and totally unimportant, and little bits of cultures for both of the maids. Like one of my favorite chapters that has absolutely nothing to do with progressing the plot, has absolutely nothing to do with adding to the story in regards to the two characters, but really punches through for me, was Irene's chapter, where you get to learn about the security guard who spends a long time looking at the back of Tasha's phone, because it was like this little piece, this tiny little piece that added such a huge underlaying to the story. And Nicola Yoon is really good at doing that. Like Irene, and then when you learn about the Korean practice of them putting the three different things in front of the kids and seeing what they crawl to, and what they crawl to is basically, I don't want to say Korean practice because I don't know about the culture 100%. I'm not gonna support someone else's researching skills, but this is what she sells it off as, and I thought it was a very cool thing. If I'm wrong, correct me. I'm always about education, especially in regard to cultures. Anyway, back to the point. This idea that they put the kids in front of three items, or whatever the kid crawls to, that is what they're going to be when they grow up. It's sad, but it's also kind of interesting at the same time, and beautiful and different. And these things, these little things that just give you more backstory, more understanding, and more history are missing from the movie. And I get it. You have like, what, 2 hours max to make this thing happen? I understand, but this is what makes the practice of turning books into movies so shittily, is that you miss these gems, these important moments that help to make the book what it is. Like, for instance, Daniel's brother, Charlie. There is a chapter that explains the entire history of them, how Charlie pretty much hates Daniel because he hates himself and he hates his culture, and he hates that it makes him different to all of the people he wants to belong to. That little piece of understanding gives you such a sympathetic level when you see the relationship of the two characters, and it helps to build to the fight that you end up seeing in the movie that really doesn't get the context that it deserves, because there's not time, because that isn't considered important to the movie creators. So that was a huge thing that was missing from the movies. Well, the first thing. There are plenty. The next thing, which was already a huge controversy, and I'm sure many of you know about, but the coloring of Natasha. So Yara Shahidi is a fantastic actress. She does a great job of doing the role. But even in the movie, you can see the juxtaposition between her character and her entire family that is Jamaican. Not to say that there aren't people who can be of lighter tones who are Jamaican, but predominantly the Jamaican people are dark-skinned people, and she is described in the book as a dark-skinned person. So for them to go this lighter way, I think took away from the importance of the character and the importance of the role in the beauty supply store, because realistically, when regards to hair culture and the community, Yara Shahidi's hair texture is more widely accepted in mainstream media than, for say, a 4C hair texture, which is a lot kinkier and coilier. So for them to put her into the movie was sort of whitewashing it. And I mean, it is what it is. Not to say that Yara's not a black woman. She's just not a dark-skinned black woman, and that's what this movie called for. So they really stole the opportunity away from somebody who would have been able to give it that little bit more push, because it's almost like this idea that she would be talked to about her hair. Not to say that it doesn't happen to people who are lighter or who have looser textured hair, but it would hit more, it would feel more punching if she had the hair texture that is the least accepted in society. Like, we know it. It's the point blank truth of the matter. So that was truly missing, and it was just weird. It was just like, if you were gonna just make her lighter, make one of her parents lighter. Like, just do casting properly. That's all I'm asking for. Like, it was out there. They could have done that better. Another thing in regards to the family, okay? This is the biggest issue I have with the movie versus the book. They did not make the dad. In the books, the whole reason that they're being deported is because the dad, which is, I'm not to say is even fair, but the whole reason they're being deported is because the dad gets drunk, gets pulled, well, he has one drink or two drinks, gets pulled over, cops run his paperwork and find out that he's an illegal immigrant, so they get the deportation notice. The reason that this is important is because he was drinking, because he finally landed a role in theater, which is the whole reason that they moved to America, is because he had these ideas of being this big star. And when he wouldn't get a job, he wouldn't help support the family. The mom was working like 3 roles. They were living in a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, the parents had the living room and the 2 kids shared a room. And that was based off of this character who has this strenuous relationship with his daughter because of this, because of his dream, and because of what she feels like the dream cost them. And it was very important to showcase that, I think, in the movie, because it gave you more backstory to Tasha and her cynicism and her anger, because she's been dealing with this father who not only was so focused on his own dreams, he didn't care about anybody else, but that also, when it was time to go back to their country, flipped a switch and started acting like a whole different person. Like, when they got to America, he tried to lose his accent. He tried to get them out of their accents. He wouldn't say words that were specific to Jamaican culture, and he wouldn't eat certain foods or do certain things. And then when they found out they were going back, he started saying, Ari, everything's Ari. I don't know if I'm saying that right. He started saying that all of the time. And even that was a chapter in the book. And it was like this grating thing, because it was like, he was okay pretending to be one thing, and then he flipped and became this other thing when it was necessary. And it was something that really got underneath her skin. So that was something that sucked. That that they didn't put into the movie. And it's just another thing that I think made the movie less remarkable than it could have been, truthfully. And to even add to that is that they didn't do the characters as well as they could have. Like, Tasha is this really, really smart, science-based, cynical woman, and they show a little bit of that, but I felt like it was mostly just anger, and you didn't see her battle Daniel as hard as she did in the book. You didn't see him have to work with his whole romantic notions to convince her that love was possible in a day. As well, they don't really talk about the study where he gets the questions from, and it's just like, timing ruins everything. Like, I get you had no time, but there is so much that could have been layered into these characters to make them whole. So we miss out on a lot of these parts of them. I will say this in defense of the movie. The ending I liked a bit more than the ending of the book. In the book, you see them meet up on a plane 10 years later, and that's just kind of the end of it. You get no sort of resolution, but the idea that they would end up in the same place, that they kind of run into each other again, and that they have this one day again, it's kind of beautiful. It's like this one movie for Sunrise. Like, you get this one day with these characters. Like, I get the idea and what they were going for, but I think that they could have really hit it home and really given a powerful movie if they had shown more of the tragic and layering issues in regard to identity and family and culture and love, and how these themes collide with each other continuously. So, movie versus the book. Book wins hands down. And if you've watched the movie and you don't feel like you need to read the book, I am telling you, you need to read the book. It's not even like it's going to add like extra information to you. There are whole pieces that are missing. There are whole ideas that you can get. And there's a whole new way for you to fall in love with these characters. And I feel like that's what we as writers want when we put these words down, is for you to get everything we were trying to say and to fall in love with the people that we create. And the movie didn't do it. The movie didn't do it for me. I hate to say it, but yeah. So watch the movie, read the book. I always suggest doing both. If you want to enjoy the movie, watch the movie first, because whenever I read a book and then try and watch the movie, it just doesn't work out for me. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. If you did like it and you want to see more of these, then definitely leave a comment, because we are trying to figure out what people want to see. If you thought it was trash, mom's a hoe. I'm kidding. If you didn't like it, then you didn't like it. Yeah, so follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm pretty interesting, I'm not gonna lie to you. And also follow my best friend and co-author JD Quinn on Instagram and Twitter as well. And come back every Wednesday, because we have new videos every Wednesday. What? I know, it's so interesting. Bye.